I thought I'd go over some of the things you can do when you're making a fence for your model. This video is not so much for you folks out there that have been building kits for a while, but maybe you guys and gals out there that are just getting into building models, and a lot of kits will have a section where you got to build a fence, or maybe you already have a model, you want to put a fence around it. The material you would need that I think looks really nice when you're doing the fences is scale, for HO scale 2x4 for your horizontal rails, scale 4x4 for your vertical rails, and then scale 1x6 looks really good for your fence slats here. So, you know, a lot of kits come with templates. This one here is from an FSM kit called Crocker Brothers, and that had one that you can follow. You can always save the cards if you ever want to make fences with this. You can, if you don't have a card from a kit, you can take a piece of graph paper and space your horizontal rails about 4 feet top to bottom, maybe scale 6 feet in between your vertical posts, and then you can put some wax paper on it and follow a template like that to make a fence. I've got a pretty inexpensive laser cutter that I made this template out of. This one here will fit, without any gluing, will fit the 2x4s in these little slots here, and then I can glue my posts on here. I don't have to use wax paper. I can just go down the line and then pop it out. I mean, this is a short one. I made one that's longer, and you can do that. And either way, when you get all done, you'll have your fence framing here. Some kits may have you make all of the vertical posts the same length, but what's a really good thing to do is make just one of them extra long, and then all the others the length from the ground up. That way you only have to drill one hole in your base to put this in without having to try to drill all your holes to get that to stick in. And you can go right down the line with your fencing. These here were stained and then sponge painted white, but what adds interest as you're going down the line, you can take your knife and kind of slice from the middle of these fence slats, and then when you start butting them up against your other slat, you get you can get little holes like this, which look fantastic. You can also take one of these for your next fence slat, but don't glue it down. Just space it like that. And then when your next one comes in, you glue that one down. And then when you pull out the one that you didn't glue, you'll have it perfectly spaced like a missing board. And you can see where I did that here. So you can do some missing boards. You can also break a piece of it off and glue just a top or a bottom, or in this case over here, I broke a piece off but glued the bottom and the top. So I have another hole there. And then if you're missing one of these pieces, take another, like this is a 2x4, and paint it a different color, like a red or a green. This is a pale blue, and glue at an angle across that space. And again, another detail to your fence that looks great. Newspapers we always put on the ground, but you can tear some of them and glue them onto the fence and curl them up. I think the newspapers always look great when they're on a fence instead of just signs. Of course, I got a sign here. This tag right here, you can put people's initials or years or whatever to write freehand a tag on your fence. I use this Micron ink marker. You can get at Michael's. The tip is so super fine, and you can freehand whatever you want on it, and it just it scales out nice when you do that. Sides of buildings and fences. And who says you have to have all wood, right, on a fence? You can mix it up. So for here, I've got some corrugated metal from this part over. This is not metal. This here is paper product. Mind Mount Models makes paper product. I believe that's what this is. Looks like metal, but it's paper. Stony Creek makes, I got some roofing material from them. It's on vellum paper. Paints nice, cuts up nice, easy. When you work with the paper corrugated, so like I painted, these kind of gray, and then sponge painted all my rust colors, and you just use like wood glue or white glue, which is fantastic to put these on the bottom. And when you want to roughen up and rot the bottom of this type of material, you can just do it with a knife and break them all up. And not being metal is just so easy. And because you're going to expose the white paper when you do this, and then when you cut them, you'll have the white edges. Rather than break out your paint, just grab like a marker, this Artist Loft marker. It's got a wide end and a point end, and just take that and just use that to get all your exposed white edges rather than breaking out the paint. And then you can glue this right down on that. It makes it so much easier. And when it comes to rusting, we always grab these rust colors, but what really looks great when you rust anything is to throw a little yellow on it. This is yellow ochre. Yellow added to all your oranges and browns, I think looks great. When it comes time to put the fence down in wherever you're going to put it, you only have that one hole to drill to get that fence down on it. So you can do that. It makes it so much easier to get the fence positioned to where you want it. And then if you're missing a fence slat, take a piece that you broke off and lay it on the ground, right? So then it tells a story. Hey, there's where the missing fence piece went, on the ground here. And in the back of the fence, another cool thing you can do is you can take your 4x4 and you can glue a 4x4 up kind of at an angle, like the fence was sagging, and you're using it to hold it up. And that's another nice interest to put on a fence. So there's a lot you can do with fences that surround your model, and they can be models in and themselves. Just doing this, you can see where when I slice that corrugated strip, I paint both sides, and using a chopper, I chop them up. Take some of these and make them a different color. Paint like some of your corrugated a red or a green or a blue, and then when you're putting that on there, you'll get different colors, and I think that looks great also on your fence. All right, so we've got some fences. We'll do some neat weathering for the bottom of these here. I've got two things here. I have Slimy Grime Light, AK Interactive. It's an enamel, and this is an acrylic. This is moss and lichen, kind of a yellowish one, but we'll do this one here. We'll start with this one, this Slimy Grime Light. I do have the dark one, but it's pretty dark. I actually prefer the light one better. So what you want to do is take some of this, okay, and just kind of go along the bottom here of the fence. I'm just dabbing it. All right, then we're just going to take some enamel thinner. And with the enamel thinner, we're just going to come in here and kind of just pull that color up a little bit. We're thinning it out, kind of going up a little higher on the fence boards. It's a very subtle weathering effect, but I think it looks really nice for, you know, the bottom of the fence closest to the ground, to get that little bit of green color up on that. And the enamel thinner really kind of just thins it and makes it, instead of just a solid color on there, kind of just makes it like a filter, you know? So you can still see some of the board color behind it. I mean, that I really like the effect that this gives on the fence. And we'll do this one here. It doesn't take much. I mean, just a little bit of this. I mean, you can go more if you want, but just I just kind of go around the bottom of this here. And like I said, you'll first put it on, and it's it just looks like, obviously, like you just dabbed the paint on. But I think what really sells it is when you start putting the thinner on it and bring it up. I mean, some boards you can go higher than others, but I think it looks really nice down at the bottom like this. I mean, you can do this on buildings too. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a fence, but to weather the buildings, you know, you get that really nice green on there. This here is an acrylic, so it's not going to work the same way as that enamel does. I've used a color like this before. I mean, what you're doing with this one here is just taking a little bit, and you can go way down at the edge of whatever you're working on. That just kind of puts a little bit of a yellow on that. You know, maybe the horizontal rail gets a little bit more yellow. So, I mean, I'm just dabbing just the tiniest bit of this stuff here. A couple of boards just to get a little yellow on it. So yeah, there's our fence here with this nice enamel slimy grime light. Love this stuff. And there's that one with a little bit of a yellow on the on top of that. So a little close-up of the fence with that weathering on it. And this is what I like about fences. So I've got this scene here. It's on the edge of the layout. You know, you can see the tracks right here. But this little tiny section of fence that I had made, and I put a little hole into the foam, which is the base of this. You can just kind of just put a little fence in there, It kind of just adds like an extra block for viewing. This little tiny section of fence, from my tastes, kind of improves this little yard here. It makes a boundary, and we can continue to put more stuff up against the fence. I think things up close to the edge of the layout, that's when you really want to go to town. Like your first foot or so in, that's where you really want to get all of your extra scenery, and then as you go back, you can pull back a little bit on that, and you can you can spend days just adding and adding and adding to all this. But yeah, there's some ideas you can do with fences. So you can see this project that I'm currently working on has a fence around the junkyard, and it's going to follow the road all the way down. So this is all just different colors of that paper corrugated on a fence framing with signs, that micron pen to put some tags on it. These are just some stencil that I lightly painted once the sign was put together. Another great thing you can do, you can see all the different colors that I've put in for the metal. I just think it makes it stand out. And then of course a fence this long, you can just inundate it with signs and newspapers and everything else. So here's another fence that I was working on, and now these slats are extra tall, more than the scale 6 feet. These are closer to a scale 8 feet tall, and you can kind of see all the different color washes that I put on the boards, and I space the boards out a lot more rather than butting them tight to make it look like it really shrunk. And then of course you got your signs and start putting your scenery around it. So this is an example of like making an extra tall fence and then spacing the boards out a lot to make it look a lot older and more weathered.